Happy Conver-session Season 2, Episode 1. I'm here for it. I am so happy to be back. I'm so happy to be returning for this season. And I hope that you enjoyed as much as I will. I know I will. So, as indicated, we have a co-host session today. And Mandy is going to be joining us. Let's just add her on. And yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. So let's get Mandy on here and show on the road. Mpumi, hey girl. We're going to be speaking to Mpumi in just a little bit. But hey, Mans.
Hey, Vano. Happy birthday.
How's it, girl? Oh, thanks, girl. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for agreeing to co-host this year.
Awesome. No, it's an absolute pleasure. It's an uncomfortable pleasure, but because we have blood bonds that hold us together. Did I have a choice?
You had a choice, okay? I'm just saying. You had a choice. You always have a choice, okay? So, I mean, this year is good. Season 2 is super, super exciting. We have queens, royalty lined up, So, are you looking forward to anything specifically? Is there a reason why you felt that you want to jump onto this project?
Well, look, the theme is very obvious. It's from the ground up. And as a person who always likes being a pioneer in many fields, I thought, wow, this could be an awesome journey to hear the stories, to also be inspired by the stories. But above and beyond, I think from a personal point of view, like I said, this is for me. It's not one of the things I would, if you look at my spilio on this one, but I want to try something new, and I also want to be a part of from the ground up. So I want to hear the stories. I want to be a part of the journey, and I'm privileged and thankful that at least you invited me to be a part of the journey in this way. Looking forward to the entire
We're very
week.
happy to hear. Absolutely. We're very happy to have you. And I think actually I resonate with that. And that is why this series was so important to me, because I think a lot of us, like just following up from last year, last year was all about, looking back and reflecting. But, you can't be stuck in the past forever. You kind of have to start trading forward. And it's so important that we know how to build and that we not be afraid to build it. And I'm very confident that we'll hear from our that, there is something about building and starting from scratch and progressing and moving forward and aspiring and reaching that just is very human about us. So I'm very, very excited about that. Speaking of guests, tonight we have a very special guest, an absolute honor to be hosting her, Miss Mpumi K. Mbonane. Mpumi, some of you might be familiar with her work through Purpose Practitioners Club, and she is CEO, might I add, of the P2P Club. Mpumi has a very, very interesting story to tell. She went from being a graduate in mining engineering to looking for something more, and she ends up, running this company, being a CEO and helping other people, young people, to build the lives that they want for themselves and to align. That's one of the favorite words she uses, to align who they are with their contribution to the world and what they do. So we're going to get Mpumi on and we'll hear it straight from her. And we'll get the tea, get the scoop straight from the horse's mouth. So yeah, I'm very excited to hear this. And I might just add that I went through Mpumi's program. Mpumi girl! And
Hi.
it was magical. How are you, Ms. Mbonane? Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Listen, I'm fine, okay? But I'm crossing my fingers that my network doesn't show out.
Oh, no!
Because status like, who's going? Is it you or me? And sometimes it wins. So I hope that I win today.
No, fingers crossed, girl. Fingers crossed. I think we're going to be quite all right. Mpumi, we're going to start straight from the beginning. You have a degree in mining engineering, but
Yep.
You are in corporate SA right now, and you run this Purpose to Practitioners Club. What's the story, girl?
Yo, the story is that for the longest time, I never wanted to do engineering, right? So what happened was I was the kid who always gathered other kids like, yo, guys, let's play Coca-Cola Pop Stars. That's what Idols was back then, you know, our beauty contest, which is now known as Miss SA. You know, I was the person who always wanted to pull out the talent and potential in people, right? So I was like, I want to channel this into something that is a profession that allow me to be with people, like really elevate people. Okay, so I was like, I'm gonna do psychology, child psychology to be specific, because I mean it was children who I was playing with and stuff, you know. So my brother-in-law says to me, psychology? No, girl, you're smart. No, don't waste your brain. And I'm like, what do you mean? I don't want to waste my brain. And he says, listen, you're good in maths, you're good in science, find something in engineering. And I was like, okay. Went through the prospectus and I was like, yo, mechanical, yo, aeronautical. All those things looked very hard for me. And I landed with mining. I was like, what could be difficult with just going underground, getting a rock, extracting a diamond, you know?
You played yourself, didn't you?
So Mpumi thought she was going to be the miner. She thought she was going to be the actual miner, not even the engineer.
Listen.
To be the miner. Anyway, I then did my degree, but also in the 4 years, I was like, Lord, get me out of here. I don't want to be here. I often joke and say, at some points, I felt like a Jonah. You know, and when Jonah in that ship and things went haywire. I remember in our second year, this was 2014, the mining industry was going berserk. Like we were producing, but we were not getting a demand for our minerals, and things were going really badly. Graduates who had their qualifications were not getting any employment. So I was sitting in class like, it's my fault. I'm in the wrong boat.
Yeah,
guys.
you're sinking the ship, girl. A whole industry is sinking because of you.
Yo, it's me, Jesus. Get me out of this boat so people can survive. And come on, I mean, I'm one person. I couldn't have been the reason why the boat was sinking, you know. But because I knew that I'm in the wrong place, doing the wrong thing, I was like, nah, man, I need to be out of here. Long story short, I leave WITS and I join a technical consulting firm.
Okay.
Technical consulting firm we are responsible for. And listen, for me, because I always knew that I don't want to go underground, I don't want to be in surface mining. Maybe let me get into consulting, right? So I went into technical consulting. So we were responsible for designing mines, for designing the roads in the mines, for designing the dumps once the mining is done. And my goodness, it felt so monotonous. I was just like, guys, this can't be my life.
Sure.
This can't be what I do. But more than that, or further to that, every day I'd wake up with this feeling of, oh my goodness, I don't want to do life because it just seems very useless for me. You know, when my alarm rang in the morning, I was just like, why? It's better to sleep, because then, I mean, I can create all sorts of things, all sorts of dreams in my mind, but now I have to wake up to live the reality that I absolutely hate. I would go to work. Listen, even the way I dressed was horrible. You could tell this person is having an existential crisis.
Sure.
Something's wrong, you know. So I'd go to work and I just do whatever I was required to do, but there was no heart, there was no excellence, there was no passion. It was just essentially. And then when I get home, I'd reflect and think, what have I done with my life?
Sure.
I felt so empty, so worthless. Really, like, I don't know why I'm living. I don't know what the point of my life is. Surely there's got to be more to life than this. And this is where my troubles began. I cried. I prayed. I was like, Lord, reveal to me what I need to do with my life. What made it worse is that I'd see people on social media who are more accomplished saying, oh, guys, live in your purpose. It's the most beautiful place to be in. But nobody would share the why.
Yeah.
And that great my tips so much. I was like, guys, I want to live your life. Tell me how to do it. But there was never a response. And later on, when God finally revealed my purpose to me, he actually let me know that the reason I was never finding the how was because he wouldn't trust me to be the vessel that helps people get the how.
Whoa. Oh my God.
Oh, but also I was like, no. I was but I was also like, no.
Hold up.
Let's not.
Like Jesus, a woman.
Number one, you create people. Nah? You create people with a purpose and they lose their way. They somehow come across a detour. And then you want me, another created being, to facilitate the process of discovering purpose, and not only that, but turning it into a profession, something people would do every single day of their lives until they die. Sorry, Boza, no, you got the wrong address. And I had to really learn in that moment that that's really what purpose is about. It's bigger than us. It is beyond our comforts. It is beyond our qualification. It is beyond our knowing. And if we could do it on our own, then we wouldn't even need God in the process. So I was like, yo, this is huge. But if you trust me, it's okay. It's okay. I'll try my best. And that's how it's been. I've literally been saying, yo, what's the plan for this year? I'm like, okay, come, let's go. That's how it's been.
For me, so you move from like, okay, I'm gonna do what is kind of expected of me. I've got the brains for it, so I can kind of, it's kind of the path that's set out for me, to basically dragging your feet through your degree, in the sense that it was really difficult to get through it because you knew already that it's not where you should be, to then bringing other people to the awareness that you're not feeling that for no reason. Like there's something to it. Like there's something about your gut that say it's not lying. So like my thing is, what do you think is the cost of ignoring such feelings? Had you not done what you what you eventually came to do, what do you really think is the cost of not starting? Because I think a lot of us, it's like, it's fine, I'm not gonna move from where I'm at because I don't care, I don't aspire for anything else. But we don't realize, because there's a cost to staying as well.
100%. Whew. Okay, I'm going to talk about 3 things here, and I think 2 of them will be very counterintuitive, but I need you to follow. Okay. Firstly, the cost of us not starting, or the cost of us not listening to that inclination, is comfort. You're like, how? Comfort is a privilege. What do you mean? But it's comfort. Because what happens is you know what you need to do, or maybe you have an idea of where God is trying to lead you. But because of fear or all those other things, you're like, I'd rather sit here. And not starting gets us into a place of comfort. You become comfortable with toxicity. You become comfortable with mediocrity. You become comfortable with never realizing your potential.
Oh, man.
You become comfortable with mess. And that's the cost we have to pay. We become out of character, essentially. We become what we were never designed to be. And that is the biggest cost, our comfort. Because also what happens is you try and make excuses, right? And you're like, oh, no, I can try that and try this. When you know what you need to do, right? You know that here's the seed, plant that seed. But you're just like, okay, no, let me try and find shade under this tree. Or all those things, you eventually become so comfortable. And that comes at a huge cost, because you never become who you are meant to be. The second thing is, the cost of us not going for what God wants us to do is delayed gratification. And still it's like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
we have delayed gratification. But here's the thing. The thing for me is, I was very, very unfulfilled in the work that I was doing. And to my surprise, when I got into corporate, so many people were like, Mpumi, do you love it here? And I'm like, guys, what's going on? Why does this seem to be an occurring theme or a recurring theme? And I actually learned that people are really miserable in their jobs. People really hate what they are doing. People have a yearning in their hearts. And because they're not living out that yearning, they are really, really, really just very miserable and not satisfied and fulfilled. I remember when a man who was older, I think 60 or 65, he was leaving, going on to his pension. And the colleague that I worked with went to him and was like, hey, what advice would you give to a young, aspiring corporate girl like me? And he said, I would advise you to go for your dream. And this girl was like, what? And he says, of all my years here in corporate, I realized that I was closing deals for this corporate, but I closed none for myself.
Oh. Oh,
Okay.
man.
All right.
And he was like, close deals for yourself. You know, and as he was leaving that day, the only gratitude gift or the only thank you gift was a lunch. And he's like, imagine, 40 years of my life, I'm going to send off as a lunch. Close deals for yourself. That's what you need to do. And that's what I mean by delayed gratification. When we don't start, we delay our gratification. We delay our joy. We delay closing deals for us when it matters most. You know, I don't like the concept of retirement. You know? Yeah. And I know it's a construct of corporate and capitalism, because the idea is work, 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 work. And when you're 60, then you can go and relax. What will you enjoy at 60?
True story. True story.
Enjoy it at 60. Your faculties are exhausted. You are probably just fed up with life. At that point, all you want to do is rest.
Dude, arthritis. Yeah.
Exactly. You are frail, right? Your medical bills are this high. That money will be channeled to medical bills and not to exploring the world. And. So I really don't like that concept of retirement, because also it assumes, Uguti, you get to decide when the work ends. At 60, Lord, I'm just going to hang up the coat, hang up the boots, hang up the gloves, and you find somebody else to do the work. When we read the Bible, we learn about Moses, all these people died still doing what God put them on this earth for, you know, and so we want to hustle and grind and do all these things that aren't even meant for us, with the illusion that there will come a time where we can enjoy our lives, where we can enjoy the things that we've worked for. For me, that concept was really strange, and I was like, no, I want to know what my purpose is, so I can align it to my profession, into something that I do every single day. It's the longest activity that I do in the day.
Yeah.
Your varsity teaches you how not to sleep. So not even sleep takes up the amount of time that your work does. And I was like, I can't be working 40 hours in a week, and the scraps that I have, try to enjoy those. You know, I love the song, I think Umsaki sings it, Suguti, we pray away the pain of not being in alignment with our dreams, and that's why we look forward to the weekend. And I was like, I can't be that person. I can't be that person who hates Mondays and loves the weekend and spends 5 days out of 7 days in misery. Well, 6 really, if you want to be really biblical. I can't be that person. And so when we don't do what we need to do, when we delay or when we don't start, the cost is our own gratification. And finally, I'll be very short with this one. The other cost is that God's cloud lifts and we miss the cue.
Sure.
You know, if you're well versed with the journey of the Israelites from Egypt to Canaan, you understand that what gave them guidance and what channeled where they needed to go and when they needed to go was God's cloud. When God's cloud settled, they set up camp. When God's cloud lifted and it started moving, they went in that direction. When we don't start, the biggest cost is that we risk moving outside of God's cloud. We risk staying put when God's cloud has lifted and is moving. So the protection that comes with that, the direction that comes with that, the security that comes with that, you know, the wisdom that comes with moving with God's cloud, we miss it completely. So God could have been saying go, or God could have been saying go right, and you're just like, oh no. We really, the biggest cost is God's cloud lifting and you still being in position, or even moving in whatever track you're moving, and God's like, yo, dude, I'm over here where you're at. So for me, those are the biggest costs really that we have to pay, unfortunately,
Sure.
when we don't do what we know we need to do.
Mpumi,
Sure.
can I just jump in here, ne? Because I feel like you came for my edges. I tried to lay them down today, but they are
I'm
going.
sorry,
They are gone.
I'm
And
sorry. I'm opposed to control.
and the painful part is because I think for me on the weighting scale of the cost of the sacrifice is I have a big bar of gold labeled fear on it on the one hand of my scale, and on the other hand is seeing everyone in their gratitude and their success, and it's
Yeah.
not balancing out. Honestly, you can say, look, the cost of this is, and you are on point. These are all the things we've seen.
Yeah.
These are all the things people are inspired about. But like for you, how did you overcome the bar of gold labeled fear so that it weighed out and everything, the delayed gratification, the pillar of God being upon you, all those things, how did that become the greatest weight that made it seem like, let's do this?
Ooh, you know what? Now I feel like you're trying to get into my business because listen, for the longest time, I have been a misunderstood human being, right? I don't know what it was about my demeanor or what I was putting out, but I've always been misunderstood. Literally, people will come to me years later and be like, yo, we thought you are that, but it turns out you are this. So because I was so misunderstood and I would hide and distance myself and try to disguise myself, I was like, no, man. You know what? I actually don't mind coming across as a crazy person because even when I was not crazy, people thought I was. I don't mind sounding like umuntu olahlekelwe ingqondo because in any case, that's been the case. So I really, how I got over the fear was not minding to be labeled as crazy because I moved on my conviction. Listen, it's a scary thing. It's really a scary thing to say to people, purpose can't pay your bills. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
practice. Oh no, we're not gonna be that. And I'm just like, yeah, guys, it's just we haven't really seen purpose being turned into a profession for us to actually pay our sustenance or gain our sustenance through it. It's a scary thing. It's a very countercultural thing. People are like, no, work, grind, we're not enjoy our work. And then when you have a purpose project or a passion project, you can pursue that in your own time. So to say, no, merge the two is like, yo, this girl is crazy. So I didn't mind looking crazy because in any case, when I was not, people didn't believe that I was not. So I got over the fear because I got over the fear because people would in any case get me wrong, you know? So I was like, I'd rather be really persecuted for something that I'm convicted against or convicted on and just leave people to think what they want to think. But also I think for me the biggest thing was who matters more? Who matters more to you? Is it the God who gives the instruction? Or is it you who doubts the instruction? And when I saw all things happening around me, I was like, yo, I don't ever, and all these things being people coming to me saying, Bumi, are you happy? Oh no, what should you do? Because when I finally went out with my story, people were like, oh no, you are sharing my story.
Oh wow.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Clearly this is a thing. So, you know, for me, it became, are you going to be okay when you're called to account and God's like, what did you do with the building that I gave you? You left it vacant. Dude, what did you do with the field that I gave you? Didn't produce any crops. Come on. And so it was also that just God mattering more than my fear. But, and there's one thing that I want to say as well. I think for me, what carried an even bigger weight to the gold plates written fear was my fulfillment. I was like, the trade-off is my joy. So what do I really want? Do I want to be kept in this fear, or do I want joy? What feeling am I going to be driven by? And for me, it was a feeling of joy. It was a feeling of fulfilling my desire. It was a feeling of living an impactful life. it was a feeling of fulfillment more than it was a feeling of joy. I was like, of fear. I was like, I need fully, but this one is the one I'm after, and I just had to choose.
Yeah.
And even now, like when I think about pitching for speaking engagements, when I think about pitching brand partnerships and brand deals, I'm just like, oh no. But I'm like, what will I love most? Will I love speaking on stage, or will I love sleeping on my bed because I did not have the courage to pitch to raise? So I think those are the things for me. But the biggest thing was which emotion or which feeling is going to drive you. At the end of the day, what do you want to see? And I was like, I want to see Mpumi flying overseas, speaking on stages, versus Mpumi was like, 5 years ago, I wanted to, I was more motivated by my performance more than I was by my fear.
That's such an interesting thing, Bumi, because I think you're spot on to say, when we see the F word, for a lot of us, we think it's fear when it's actually fulfillment. It's an invitation to fulfillment. What lies beyond your fear is genuinely fulfillment, So, which brings me then to my next question, which is like the question of sacrifice. What is the cost of ambition? Because Mpumi wants to be on stages, guys, in all over the world, over the seas. Yeah,
she's got a day job.
So I mean, they are definitely, I imagine, ambition comes at a cost, and I think a lot of us, we are familiar with the ones that are immediate, but I'm just wondering how you thinking about that, and how you navigate choosing yourself and moving with your conviction, and the sacrifices that come with that.
Yeah, I think this one will resonate with a lot of people. I think one sacrifice that comes to mind is being an expert. When you start something, you sacrifice being an expert because you're venturing into new territory. You become a novice. You have to ask for help. You have to risk failing in some things. That's a sacrifice. And I think when people think about starting afresh or starting from the ground up, that's something that is in their subconscious, but they really don't think about. Like, so fear or rather the sacrifice of being an expert masquerades itself as fear. It's like, I'm scared. No, actually, you just don't want to be. You don't want to be a novice. You don't want to be a person who, especially when you're a young professional, right? You have mastered some skills in your profession. You are called on for certain things. People know that they can come to you for certain answers. Now you're the person who's like, how do I start a website? Do I open a bank account? You really become a novice. You have to make, and just really think about the fact that at some point before you became an expert, you were a novice. So just giving yourself the grace and the allow to be new at something, not only to start something new, but to be new at it, to say, you know what, I'm probably going to look like a fool, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm probably not going to know a lot of things, but I'm going to do it anyway. And in any case, people who are really experts at what they do ask for help. Nobody who is who they are is there by themselves. We often hear the whole thing, everybody has 24 hours, and they're like, but Beyonce has got help. That's the point. Where she is, that's the point. So that's the advice we need to make. Just stepping out of being an expert and being a novice, all right? And then the second sacrifice you make is life as you know it. Life will never be the same again unless you stop and you want to revert back to your comforts. It's also very uncomfortable. When you know, you can't unknow. When you see, you can't unsee. When you've heard, you can never unhear. So we just really have to sacrifice life as we know it. Your friendships are probably not going to be sustained because some people will not understand the journey you're on. And it's not because they hate you, but you just don't speak the same language anymore, and that's okay. We can't fault a 20-year-old who no longer fits into tracksuit yake when they were 6. You can't fault the 20-year-old, you can't fault the tracksuit. Nobody is in the wrong. It's just the other one outgrew the other one. The
Yeah.
tracksuit is still valuable, and the 20-year-old is also valuable, but akusahlangan.
Yeah.
So you're going to forfeit some of your friendships. That's a reality. Your time is going to be stretched very, very thin. So if you're used to going out with friends every weekend, some weekends are going to have to be cut short. If you like watching soapies at night when you unwind, I guess, or you call an end to your day, now this new project is going to call for your time. And so our life really, really changes. The choice of partner you make now is somehow linked to your purpose and what it is you're doing. Or if they're not a person that can support you in this project, you don't want to carry dead weights, and similarly with you as well, dead weights in a relationship. So really a lot of things change. We have to sacrifice our money. If you were used to spending your money on other things, now you have to invest it into this project that you're doing. So life really, really changes. All of life changes. And I think also your relationship with God deepens, because I've never felt so inadequate as when I said yes to my purpose. With other things, I know maths, I know science, I can do this, but having to hear from God on behalf of other people, that has really terrified me, and it's brought me closer to him. I was like, if I say one wrong thing, it's going to be a problem. You know how the measure that God used for, who's this person? It was the same, but for Moses and the Israelites, for all those years, to Moses, and God was like, and Moses was like, no, you're not going to ruin your reputation over this moment. Relax, Baba, relax. And God kept forgiving. Moses, instead of speaking to the rock, he strikes it, and God's like, yeah.
Game over.
Anyway, game over. Game over. You are going to be buried in a mountain, Canaan, never to be seen again, So it's just realizing the gravitas of the work that God has given me. I cannot afford to be outside of his guidance. I cannot afford to be outside of his counsel, because man, a lot of lives are now dependent on me being obedient to him, but me also being very, very alert to what he says. So yeah, it deepens a relationship with God. You have to sacrifice your money, your whole life changes. And also just the idea of allowing yourself to be a novice. The sacrifice you have to make is being an expert and starting from zero. Really crash, but it's fine, because once that thing is built up, you will love yourself for having been a person who was okay, who's not knowing anything in the beginning.
Yeah,
definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's quite a humbling thing then, but it's not it's that should I call it the humility? The goodness of it, you don't outgrow, because like you said, without being under, God's guidance, you kind of always feel like, okay, then I'm not walking or living in my purpose. But also at the same time, you do, with time, you learn certain things and you do become an expert again, right? So it's like, it's not worth sacrificing basically your whole life and fulfillment just for a couple of years of feeling inadequate, right? Is that something that you realized very early on, or is it something that you are constantly battling and learning?
It's something that I'm constantly learning and battling. I was actually with Mandy on Friday, and one thing that I shared with them was that I've been struggling to relate with God of late, and it's been because I'm in a different position in my life, right? And this is professionally, personally, financially, in a lot of the areas of my life. And in one season, when I needed God for a particular thing, in this season I have it. It's now a matter of, Lord, how do I steward it? How do I manage it? Or how do I allocate the different resources and skills and whatever it is that you've given me? As much as your relationship with God deepens, it also evolves.
Okay.
You never stop needing him. You never stop needing him. In the beginning, you need him for, okay, show me which course I need to take. And then in the next stage, you say, show me which course I need to give. And then in the next stage is, show me which course I need to let go of. You know, but at every point, you really need his guidance, and you need him to be letting you know what you need to do. So it's something that I battle with, something that I have to learn every day, but you never stop needing God. So yes, it's humbling, but also it's very exciting, because you're like, oh, you've got this whole thing figured out, right? Listen, as a young person, as a young professional, I know what it's like, and I know the value or importance of somebody knowing what
Yeah.
you're doing. And
Yeah. Cool. Yeah,
wow.
absolutely.
Wow. So to know a God who has got all figured out and just requires us to move from glory to glory and grace to grace, it's very humbling, but also very exciting.
And yes, Mpumi, I like what you're saying there, because you are highlighting a lot of where your anchor stems, which is your religion and with God. And I'm just thinking for others who might have a different religious background, etc. But the one principle or lesson that I'm getting here is you must have patience with yourself, and you must literally grant yourself a lot of grace and leeway.
Yeah.
Whenever you need to learn a new skill or learn anything new, you need to be so kind to yourself. And that's the one thing that I think we need to purposefully sacrifice. You need to sacrifice criticizing yourself in the harshest way, because you know, that can break you down and cause you to be stagnant and not try. So going back to one of your fears, because you literally are your biggest critique, you are your worst enemy, and you need to grant yourself the grace to just be like, I'll get there. And that's why you can stand today and honestly be like, I'm in a different phase, and I'm having good vibes with God, and now I need to learn to relate to Him in good vibes.
Yeah. And another thing, I love what you're highlighting, because also the truth is you're going to learn yourself anew. These are territories you've never charted. This is a requirement of you that you've never been before. You know, when you start something, you become a different person. You become a whole new person. If you used to speak a certain way, you no longer do. And is it because you think you're better? Yeah, you are.
That's the honest truth.
You are better. You know, so also just acknowledging the fact that you are going to discover parts of you never even knew existed. It's like when I go to gym, let me tell you my gripe with gym. My gripe with gym is you get used to certain weights, and you step on and you feel pain in certain places, and you're like, I've got it. And they're like, all right, now we're increasing your weights. And you have to get used to that. And and then the Pilates, you're just like, what is this muscle? What is this tissue? I'm starting to feel things I've never felt before. It's gonna be like that. You're going to learn new traits about yourself. You're going to have to learn things that you thought were the truth about you, and maybe they were in that season, but they no longer are. Also, the grace to evolve and be somebody you've never met before.
Sure,
that's beautiful.
That is actually well said. Like, I like that. And earlier on, you did touch on kind of like dealing with learning yourself anew, and also dealing with other people, then realizing that, okay, this is a new person, and they might not find their place in your life, you know, in this newness, you know. So I know also that you have a very close relationship with your mom, you know, and your family, basically, right? Is there something that your mom has kind of taught you about renewal and newness as such, you know, especially as a young Black woman? Do you think there's something, do you think that like African mothers are very good at teaching us not to be afraid of newness, or the opposite?
Whoa, okay, this is an interesting one, because I'm trying to think of a time when a new thing happened and we had to show up for that newness. And I was still very young when this happened, but my family lived a certain life, right? So my dad was still in the picture. Everything was nice. Everything was fun. Yo, man, nandi in the home. And my dad up and left. And I was very young at that stage, leaving my mom with a 9-month-old baby, with the kid who's just finished matric, and with how older is my brother than me? With an 11-year-old boy. And my mom, man, this is, okay. If there's any feminist in this room, please understand me, understand me well. You know, the whole thing of watsintumfazi, watsintumbogoto, and musadi utwara tipa buhaling, and all those things that symbolize the strength of a woman. And now we're just like, oh no, I'm not a mogoto, I'm an egg. While I understand the notion of we are eggs, treats us gently and with fragility, we also can't overlook the fact that actually, hey man, our mothers are strong. You know, our mothers are strong. And I think for me, that's what my mom has taught me. Uzi, it's going to be a new chapter or a new feeling, but you are graced for it. You know, everything you need for it, you already have. You are graced for the journey you're about to walk. You are graced for the challenges you're going to meet. You are strong and you can do it. And another thing, people marvel at my financial savviness and they're like, oh, where did you learn all these things? And guess where I learned all these things? From the fact that we did not have enough growing up. My mom was very, very resourceful. And you learn that that's what you need to have when you're starting something new. You need to be resourceful with relationships. You need to be resourceful with your resources. You need to be resourceful with time. So I think in starting anew and doing new things, those are two things that I learned. So you are graced for whatever season you are stepping into, and you need to be resourceful. That is how you're going to make it.
Sure. Power. Yeah. That's a mic drop, literally. Like, that's incredible, Mpumi. Well, I'm going to ask you a last. There we go. That's the one. Last of my questions before Maddie goes into our brand new segment, The Grill, Vegetarian Barbecue. 2 questions. The first one is, we got this earlier on from some of our viewers. What is purpose? The condensed version.
Yeah, condensed version, the most simplistic version is purpose is the reason for which something is created or for which something is in existence. So your purpose is the reason why you exist, the reason why you were created. That's it.
Sure. I like that.
Right. Okay.
I like that. Second question and last one on my end. Mpumi, what's in the cards for you? This time next year, what can we expect from Mpumi K. Mbonane, CEO of Purpose Practitioners Club?
So, I was preaching some weeks back and I said to the people, if you want to hear me stutter, ask me what my 3 years or 2 years, what my vision and my goal or where I see myself being in that time is. I literally stutter, and I was not always this person. I was a person who had a 10-year plan, 5-year plan. But when I look back at my life 5 years ago, I'm like, jeez, Lord, I would have never imagined. I would have never guessed. What? Wow. And so where I see myself next year is where God sees me next year.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, I don't even see myself there, right? But where I'm open to being is where God sees me. So yeah, that's it. But maybe let me share some aspirations that I have.
Okay.
Listen, I want to be a global speaker, all right? I want to be.
We are here for it. We are here for it.
Coming off when free is Mpumi came when I'm like, yeah. Oh.
Yes, please.
So yeah, global speaker, and I think also I want to take I want to take the work of purpose practitioners into corporates, right? So
Beautiful.
really helping corporate professionals to, because not everybody is meant to start a business or get an MPO or be in full-time ministry. There are really some young professionals who are meant to fulfill their purpose in corporates.
Yeah.
So taking the work I do with individuals into corporate spaces to say, yo, if you really want to get the most out of if you want to get the most out of your employees, and employees, if you want to get the most out of the work that you're doing, here's how you align what you do to what your purpose is, and Bob's your uncle. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Bumi. Vance?
I agree. So,
it's time for the grow. Okay, so this is a new segment, and like what Van said, it literally is a vegetarian barbecue. So don't worry, there's no spice, it's just salt and pepper. It's not that spicy. But just to remind everyone, I think some people just joined us now. The theme for the week is From the Ground Up. And the essence of it is, it was just to look at the purpose, the process, the value, and the experience of growth. And we're going to have different speakers who are just speaking about this. And I think Bumi touched on all of those aspects, and it's her journey and her story. So now, just a young intro, then I'm going to tell you what the grill really is about. Don't be afraid, girl.
Yeah.
Don't be shy. It's not
Fear
you.
not. The cloud is with you, Bumi. Fear not.
So,
Yeah.
Bumi is CEO of Purpose Practitioners Club, right? And she calls herself a purpose alignment strategist. That's the word that's the key coining words that you're looking for, then.
Yeah.
So I was tasked to look at your social media and for it to give me a picture of who you are. And I'm going to give you, so the grill is pretty much, it's a 30-second game. I'm going to ask, I have 5 common themes that I've picked up from your social media pages. And yes, I did a deep dive, as you can see on your page.
I know, girl. I saw.
I liked all your pictures.
There were like 48 likes. I was like, somebody's stalking me. I already saw.
So that's the reason. Please don't think I'm abnormal.
Okay.
It's just I had to do research.
Some detective work. Maybe, Maddie, you just discovered a new purpose. Who knows?
To be a stalker and a van. People don't think otherwise about me, no. Okay, so when you're ready, we're going to start the timer. And when our 30 seconds is over, I'm going to ask Fan to just keep an eye on our 30-second clock. And I'm just going to keep the questions going and answer as concise and as best as you can. Are you ready?
Can I just give a disclaimer?
Okay.
Whenever, like, competitions or pressure, my mind short circuits. So I never perform well. So, guys, if you're just joining, this is not a reflection of who I am in life. I'm better than this, I promise. Okay.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1, go. So one of the big things I saw was that you had a lot of inspirational videos. So the question is, who or what is your biggest inspiration?
Everybody. Listen, when I hear people speak, that really inspires me. I pick up on what people say, what people do, and I'm inspired by those things. Literally, if there's quietness, I'm not thinking. When I hear my podcast, and I'm like, oh yes, I'm gonna talk about that, or maybe even delve deeper into it myself.
Nice.
All right.
Everything inspires me.
Okay, second question. A lot of what was on your page was your hair journey. So from your fro to many other things. So 2 words to describe your hair journey.
Difficult. Confusing.
I thought you were reaching for more difficult there. I was like, yeah, okay, it's really short-circuiting here.
Tell me why, honestly.
Okay. The timer finished many months ago, but I'm going to move on with other questions. We have time. Then
No, I want it.
The other question and the other theme that I saw was music and singing. So what is your favorite song? And if you can, give us a sample.
Yo, my favorite song is... I've got a lot. Okay, my favorite song is I'm At Your Mercy by A Cappella Company.
Okay.
And isample ama words most, no, just words.
No, we need a one-liner. Pella, they must believe that
Okay.
what you were saying. Can you actually sing? Or what's this music thing? One-liner.
All right, it's okay. It's okay. So the song goes, yes, Your Honor, I'm at your mercy. You can do with me just as you please. That was more than one line.
Ah,
And the crowd
yes!
goes wild. Yes.
Thank you. And then the other one, this was a personal favorite. You had a video in 2018 that you titled Get It. And this was, I think in your timeline, was one of the first videos, encouragement videos. So just with all of those going, like, where's the inspiration coming from Get It and moving forward from there?
The inspiration really comes from, and this is whenever I'm asked, what keeps you going? What keeps me going is the knowledge, Guti. I haven't yet attained everything that I want to attain. I'm not yet who I want to be. So when I wake up and I'm like, yo, you still on this bed? Okay, get it. Yo, you still don't have that phone? Get it. You still haven't gone to speak in Dubai? Get it. You know, so the idea that I am not yet where I want to be, and I'm not yet the full realization of who I want to be, that is what gets me get it. That is what makes me get it.
Lovely, lovely. And finally, I think Van had already touched on this one, but it was, we saw a lot of pictures of your mom, either your mom dancing, pictures of your mom, just a lot. So anything, what can you tell us about this woman?
Guys, my mom is funny. My mom is funny, you know. But I think on a more serious note, a lady from church came to me once and was like, "Bumi, I'm raising a daughter. I want to know how your mom got it right with you guys. How did she do it? How did she tell you? What did she teach you?" And I said to her, "The woman you see standing in front of the church is the woman I see at home. The woman you see and counseling is the woman that prays at home and counsels me." I've learned integrity from my mom. If ever I veered from the faith, it wouldn't be because my mom was a bad representation of God. It would be because I was army and but essentially, my mom is the same person when people are watching and when nobody is watching, and I absolutely love that.
Dude, I just got goosebumps.
That's beautiful.
When nobody's watching. Like,
yeah. What an honor to hear someone say something about you like that. Wow.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
right?
Yeah.
So maybe I think we kind of need to get your mom on here. Like, I feel like, yay. She'd be spitting bars, eh? Wow.
Nobody will make me. My mom is funny. We'll all be like, "Mama, don't say that." My mom is very funny. But yeah, no. Wisdom also, bucket loads.
She's the one.
Wow.
Final ones. I would like you to guess who said this. All right, are you ready? No.
Yeah.
Just listen carefully. So these are two quotes, and this is also, take it as a gift from me. This is my word of the day, a blast from the past. So guess who said this? This is the quote, the first one. Love is many things, but one thing, it is not unsure. The second one. You are what, if you want to impact the world, you have to first be impacted by the word. So I'll repeat that. If you want to impact the world, you have to first be impacted by the word. Who said all these things?
Yeah. This sounds like some Sowetan girl that I know. I may have lived with this girl. I'm not sure. But it sounds like that could be Bumi K.
Indeed.
Correct.
It is always an experience to be fed back what you fed as a people, you know? So I'm just like, love is many things, but one thing it is not.
It's unsure. Yes, lady.
It's beautiful to really get feedback, what you've been feeding people all along.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
And we
And
appreciate you.
thank you. Yeah.
We really
Yeah.
do. You are an absolute inspiration, Pumi, an absolute light, living in your purpose, working in your purpose, and showing us that it is absolutely possible to build from the ground up and to
Yes.
succeed. On that note, I
Yeah.
want you to finish the following sentence for me, and then we are going to be out of here. Building from the ground up is
exhilarating.
whoa,
Right.
you heard it. Exhilarating. Ms. Mpumi Bonani, thank you so much for joining us. You are an absolute
Shine.
star. Shine.
Thank you so much for having me on this platform. It's great to finally be with your sisters together. Because when I first started, Mandy, that's your sister. And then I saw, girl, we will have a part 2 on Sunday. Wow.
That's the one. Thank you, Mpumi. Have a wonderful evening further.
Thank you,
Thank
Mpumi.
you so much. Good night.
Bye. Right, guys, that is Mpumi, who is just an absolute inspiration. Her story, Mandy, is magical, right?
Yeah,
Dude.
I was
It's so nice to
fed.
see. Yeah, and it's so nice to see someone really, really walk and live in their purpose, like waking up in the mornings feeling fulfilled. Like so many people long for that. So if you guys want a little bit of that and to catch your own purpose while you're at it, go over to Mpumi's page, Mpumi Bonani, and she also has the Purpose Practitioners Club. We will, of course, link the details and tag them on this video as well. You'll also see it in the ads that we already put up throughout the week. As for us, this has been absolutely magical and amazing. We'll see you again tomorrow at 6 o'clock with Miss Ida Marakala, who is also another superstar, absolute florist, a dream, a beautiful woman, and she will tell us her story of building from the ground up. Mans, have a wonderful evening.
Yes.
Thank you for being a great co-host. Are you going to tell the people that you're not here tomorrow? Because duty calls.
Yeah. Yeah, duty literally calls. I have work tomorrow. But I'm sure it's going to be a splendid talk, and we'll just catch up on the lives and on the videos. But overall, I think everyone needs to know a happy birthday to Vanessa Mpatlangane.
Oh, no,
this is a new year for you, baby girl. New year.
It is. And what a way to start it, hey? I'm so grateful, actually. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Mwah.
Bye.